Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna divide a 8-inch circle into 12 equal parts so we can make the color wheel. First thing you do is you get just a standard sheet of printing paper. That's what I have here. And you're gonna measure, or you're gonna find the halfway point. So a standard sheet of printing paper is 8.5 by 11 inches long. So half of 8.5 is 4 1/4. So I'm gonna mark 4 1/4, and I'm gonna mark 4 1/4. I will say it helps to have a sharp pencil. When you're doing this, so you have accurate measurements. After you do the 4 1/4, draw a vertical line through, and then you're gonna measure the halfway point of 11, which is 5.5 inches here, and you're gonna mark that again here. Now I know this sounds ridiculous, but always double check your rulers. Some rulers start where the ruler begins, the 1 inch, and some start a little after. So just pay attention to what your ruler does. Okay, so you're just gonna have this divided into 2 parts. I think I'm gonna use a softer pencil so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. There's a 2B. Next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna get to your compass, and you're gonna use your ruler. And if you wanna make an 8-inch circle, you wanna open this up half the distance. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the metal piece in that little groove there, and I'm gonna open up, so it's stuck in that groove there, and I'm gonna open up this all the way to 4. So you can see it's right at 4 right there. That should be a perfect distance away to have an 8-inch circle. After that, you're gonna put it right on the center dot. And then you're gonna make your circle. Okay. After you do that, you're gonna measure the halfway distance. You wanna measure 2 inches in this direction, 2 inches in this direction, turn it, and repeat the same process, and I'll explain what I'm talking about. So what I'm gonna do is just put the 4 inch right on the center. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna hit 2 inches, and then on this side, I'm gonna hit 6 inches. I'm gonna do it again down here, put the 4 right on the center. I'm gonna hit 2, and I'm gonna hit 6. You always wanna have 2 points to connect, to know you have a vertical line. Do not guesstimate what you think a vertical line is. Okay, so then I divide it in half, so I turn it this way, and I repeat the same process. So I'm gonna put the 4 right on the center, somewhere above the center point, up here, and then I'm gonna move it below the center point, down here somewhere. Make sure that 4 is dead center. If it's not, if it's off a hair, then your line won't be straight. It kind of affects everything else. So these 2 points that I made right here, I'm gonna put a line right through. These 2 points I made right here, I'm gonna put a line right through. So you basically have this grid on top of your circle. After that, what you're gonna do is you're going to go from the center point, and you're gonna line all these lines that intersect the exterior of the circle. This is already finished. That one and that one you don't have to really do. This one I'm gonna put a little dot. This one I'm gonna put a little dot. That one's okay. This one I'm gonna put a little dot. I'm gonna put a little dot here, a little dot here, and a little dot here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go from the center point, line up this point, and it should come out the other side perfectly. Once I do that, I just put a line. Okay? A lot of people make the mistake of crossing through this point here and then going throughout. That's not what you're supposed to do. The next one, I'm gonna go from this point to the center, and it'll come out the other side. So if everything goes through the center, and then you'll kind of figure it out as it comes through the other side. So just work your way around. Again, as I said before, the center line is already completed. So this one goes here, to the center, comes out the other side, as you can see that. Here, through the center, comes out the other side. If I can do it, right there. I'm basically done. I divided it into 12 equal parts, 12 equal slices, if you will. What I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna take my, oh, here it is, right in front of my face. Compass here, and I'm going to scale it down to 2 inches. So I'm gonna put this guy on the beginning of the 1 inch, and I'm gonna move this down to 2 inches, right there, perfect. And I'm gonna put it on the center part again. And then what it's gonna, you wanna go back where you were before, right in the center. And it should touch the 2 inch lines that you just created. Just like so. Now you've done all this work only to cut out this one template. And what I'm gonna do is cut this out. Now I don't have one with me. I guess I do. But when you guys start cutting the paper, you're gonna wanna use a smaller ruler. This would have been fine, but a smaller metal 6-inch ruler is kind of perfect. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut a slice here, okay? Second thing I'm gonna do, you would think logically I'd cut a slice here, but what I want you to do for this particular one is to go out about a 1/4 inch or so, about that much further out from that line, and I want you to add a line there. The reason why we're gonna do this, so we're basically adding this much. The reason why we're doing this is this is gonna be the template, and when you cut out your colored paper, you're gonna overlap the shapes. And you're not gonna have a white space in between 2 colors because you're gonna overlap them as you work your way around. So then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut a slice that's just a little bit bigger, like so. And then the other 2 slices, you can't use a ruler, but you have to use good hand and eye coordination. Notice I'm holding this down. I probably could have done this first, but I didn't. You just want to follow the line. Also, if you notice, I'm kind of like pushing in and I'm bending this. See how that bends a little bit? And if you do that, and I also use the side of my hand to kind of stabilize my hand. If you do that, you can get a pretty good turn. You can get a pretty good curve. That's not too off. And then after that, you're gonna take out your template. So that's basically your template. So you don't need this anymore. I mean, you have 11 more shapes if you don't do a good job the first time. But at least you got this. And then after that, you're gonna take your Color-Aid paper. I just selected this. And you're going to trace, and notice that I'm just, where's the 4H pencil? I'm gonna use my 4H pencil because it's sharp and it's a harder graphite. So I'm just gonna trace around this, and I'm already using one side of the edge that's gonna be the clean cut side of the paper that already exists. So why cut twice when you don't have to? And you can see I'm just kind of holding this down, I'm tracing around, and then there you go. Then you have your little piece you can trace out. And then what you do is you cut, follow the line. And never cut a straight line without a ruler. I use this ruler here. The other thing when you're cutting too, don't apply too much pressure. I would prefer you to cut a couple times, score it once, score it again, and then let it cut. If you apply too much pressure, you could slip and really hurt yourself and slice your thumb. And then we got this little piece to knock off. Done. So basically you're gonna cut a bunch of these and you're gonna overlap them. Remember, this is a little bit bigger than our regular shape, but on your illustration board, you're gonna draw the same exact design, and then you're just going to line this up and you'll overlap this side, and then the next one you'll put on here, and then you'll overlap and overlap and overlap and overlap until you come full circle to the end. And then you have to do a little trick where you might have to peel this back up, or you overlap that one and then you cut it right down the line and you can peel it off. The nice thing about rubber cement, it doesn't adhere to the material, it only adheres to itself, which I will explain on how that works in class. Okay?